The galactic ultimatum. It was a quiet evening on Earth when the announcement came. A deep, chilling voice echoed across every radio, television, and communication device in the world. The message was clear, and it was the same for everyone. No matter where they were, Earth was about to face an ultimatum from the Galactic Empire, a vast and powerful force that had conquered countless worlds across the galaxy. The Galactic Empire had never been one to negotiate. Its reputation for crushing entire civilizations was known far and wide. They were an empire that only knew one thing: control. And now, Earth was their next target. It all began when Earth's military satellites picked up a strange signal. At first, the scientists and analysts thought it was a glitch, an error in the system. But as they dug deeper, the truth became clear. Something massive, something dangerous was approaching. And it wasn't just a passing spacecraft. It was an entire fleet, larger than any force Earth had ever seen. As the fleet moved closer, fear gripped the hearts of Earth's leaders. They knew this wasn't just another exploration mission or a routine contact. The message came soon after. The Galactic Empire demanded Earth's immediate surrender. The message was brief, but it left no room for interpretation. Earth, your time has come. Surrender immediately or face the consequences. The demand was shocking. Earth had never encountered anything like it. The Empire's message was simple: bow to their power or be destroyed. But what could Earth do? The Empire's ships were far superior in technology and numbers. Earth had no way of standing up against a force of that size. Governments around the world went into emergency mode. The United Nations called an emergency meeting with leaders from every nation gathered to discuss the crisis. For the first time in history, all the world's leaders were in agreement. There was nothing they could do. The military was on high alert, but it was clear they were vastly outmatched. The world's best scientists and military strategists gathered to find any possible way to defend the planet. But each plan seemed more hopeless than the last. "We cannot win this battle," General Armstrong, one of Earth's top military commanders, said with a grave tone. "We are facing a force with technology we cannot even begin to understand." The leaders knew the truth. Earth was defenseless. The Empire had a history of wiping out entire civilizations, and they didn't show mercy. Every attempt to negotiate was met with silence, then more threats. Earth had one choice: surrender or face total destruction. Panic set in as the deadline given by the Galactic Empire drew nearer. The news spread like wildfire across the globe, and fear gripped the hearts of billions. Families huddled together in fear, wondering if this would be the end. Would their cities be reduced to rubble? Would their homes, their lives, be erased by an enemy they had no hope of defeating? But just when the world seemed to lose all hope, something strange happened. It began as a flicker of faint blip on the radar that scientists couldn't quite explain. The Empire's fleet had been approaching Earth's orbit, and for a brief moment, it seemed as though something else was moving faster, darker, and more powerful. Then it appeared. In the distance, another fleet emerged, cutting through space like a shadow. The ships were massive, dark, and unlike anything Earth had ever seen. They were sleek, angular, and their technology was nothing like the Empire's. These ships moved with a grace that was both terrifying and awe-inspiring. They were the Black Fleet. For the first time in days, Earth's defenses began to breathe a sigh of relief. No one knew who they were or where they had come from, but their sudden appearance was the only thing that gave Earth a glimmer of hope. These ships didn't belong to the Galactic Empire, and that fact alone made them seem like allies. The appearance of the Black Fleet raised countless questions. Who were they? Were they here to save Earth? Or were they a new, even more dangerous force? The world watched in stunned silence as these ships surrounded the Empire's fleet, their dark forms casting shadows on the very stars themselves. The Galactic Empire did not take kindly to this unexpected interference. A new message was sent. To Earth, do not mistake this intervention for aid. The Black Fleet will not save you. Surrender now, and perhaps you will be spared. But the Black Fleet didn't back down. In fact, it seemed to move into position, preparing to engage. The world held its breath, unsure of what was about to happen. Meanwhile, Earth's military leaders scrambled to make sense of the situation. Could the Black Fleet be an ally? Could they have come to help Earth against the Empire? Or was this some kind of trick? Earth's forces were still preparing for the worst. But with the appearance of the Black Fleet, the tide of fear slowly began to turn into something else, uncertainty and curiosity, across the globe. People were glued to their screens, watching as the two fleets faced each other in the vastness of space. The Galactic Empire's forces, massive and unyielding, against the sleek, dark ships of the Black Fleet. What would happen next? Could this mysterious fleet really be Earth's savior, or was this just the beginning of something far worse? As the deadline for surrender approached, Earth had one last hope: the Black Fleet. But would they help, or were they just another powerful force with their own agenda? The tension in the air was thick, and the world held its collective breath. The battle for Earth's future had just begun, and the outcome was uncertain. Would Earth surrender to the Galactic Empire, or would the Black Fleet be the key to its survival? No one knew. The countdown was on, and only time would tell. The Black Fleet appears. The world held its breath as Earth's fate hung in the balance. As the Galactic Empire's deadline loomed closer, the sight of the Black Fleet was both a blessing and a mystery. No one on Earth knew who they were, where they came from, or why they had chosen this moment to appear. But one thing was clear: they weren't the Empire, and that alone gave humanity a spark of hope. As the Black Fleet moved into Earth's orbit, their ships cast long shadows across the sky, far darker than anything humanity had ever seen. They were unlike any spacecraft Earth had ever encountered. While the Empire's ships were massive, intimidating, and brimming with firepower, the Black Fleet's ships were sleek, elegant, and ominously quiet. They glided through space with a fluid grace that sent a chill down the spine of anyone watching. The ship's design was a complete enigma. There were no markings, no insignias, no signs of any government or faction they might belong to. Their surfaces were smooth and reflective, almost like liquid black metal, but with an eerie, otherworldly sheen. These weren't just ships. They were works of art, built for a purpose that no one on Earth could yet understand. The Black Fleet didn't immediately engage the Galactic Empire's forces. Instead, they positioned themselves around Earth, almost like a protective barrier, with their ships forming an unspoken ring around the planet. The Empire's fleet, huge and overwhelming, stood just on the other side. The two forces were now locked in a silent standoff, their weapons aimed at each other, but no one had yet fired a shot. Inside Earth's military command centers, confusion was spreading. Military leaders who had prepared for a brutal invasion were now questioning everything they thought they knew. Were the Black Fleet here to help? Or were they another force, like the Empire, with their own goals? Some believed the Black Fleet was a force of peace, arriving to stop the Empire's tyranny. Others feared that the fleet had come to replace the Empire's threat with a new, even greater danger. "It doesn't make sense," General Armstrong said, looking at the holographic display in front of him. "The Black Fleet doesn't belong to anyone we know. They're not with the Empire, but they haven't attacked them either. Why?" Across the globe, world leaders held emergency meetings to discuss the next steps. For the first time, humanity was united by a single goal: survival. The Black Fleet had brought hope, but it also brought uncertainty. Earth's defenders were caught in a web of confusion. Could they trust these mysterious visitors, or would they be betrayed at the last moment? In the quiet moments of doubt, something even more unsettling occurred. The Black Fleet's ships began to move again, but this time, they weren't just positioning themselves around Earth. They were sending out signals, strange, complex signals that no one could interpret. Scientists scrambled to decode the transmissions, but the language was unlike anything Earth had encountered. "Are they trying to communicate with us?" one scientist whispered in disbelief. "Or is this some kind of warning?" The transmissions continued for hours, each signal more complex than the last. Eventually, Earth's military had no choice but to attempt to respond. Using every communication technology available, they sent out a simple message: "Who are you? What do you want?" There was a long silence. Then, to the shock of everyone, a response came through a direct message, delivered not to Earth's military, but to every device across the planet. It wasn't a voice. It wasn't a threat. It was a symbol. The symbol of the Black Fleet. A black circle with a single, sharp line cutting through its center appeared on every screen, from phones to televisions, from computers to billboards. It was simple, but it carried with it a weight of meaning that no one could fully comprehend. The symbol remained on screens for a few moments, then disappeared as quickly as it came. "What does it mean?" a world leader asked, looking to his advisors for answers. But no one could offer an explanation. The symbol was a mystery, like the fleet itself. Earth's top scientists and analysts worked round the clock to understand the message, but nothing came close to revealing its purpose. Meanwhile, the Galactic Empire, not known for its patience, grew impatient. Their massive warships loomed, their weapons aimed directly at the Black Fleet. The Empire's commander sent a final threatening message to Earth's leaders: "Do not mistake their arrival for an ally. The Black Fleet is not your salvation. Surrender to us now, or be destroyed." The words were cold and threatening, but they were also laced with fear. The Empire had never encountered a force like the Black Fleet. They had always been the strongest, the most feared, but now they were unsure. The Empire had underestimated humanity once before. Would they make the same mistake again? Or was the Black Fleet a true force to be reckoned with? As tensions escalated, humanity's hopes rested on the unknown fleet. Would they help Earth? Would they help fight back against the Empire? Or was this just the beginning of an even darker conflict? The world held its breath, waiting for the next move. And then, without warning, the Black Fleet moved again. This time, they didn't just stay in position, they advanced. Their ships slowly glided toward the Galactic Empire's forces, their engines glowing with an eerie, almost otherworldly light. The Empire, still unsure of what was happening, didn't fire. Instead, they waited. The Black Fleet was coming closer, but Earth's fate was still uncertain. As the two fleets faced off, only one question remained. Would the Black Fleet save Earth, Or was the galaxy about to witness the beginning of something even more devastating? The tension between forces. The days following the appearance of the Black Fleet felt like a tense silence that hung heavily over Earth. The Galactic Empire's forces, massive and intimidating, stood just beyond Earth's orbit, watching, waiting. The Black Fleet, just as silent, held its ground, their ships moving like shadows in space, their true intentions still unclear. Every passing hour raised new questions, and every decision seemed to carry the weight of humanity's survival. In military command centers around the globe, Earth's leaders and generals were trying to piece together the puzzle. General Armstrong, who had once believed that humanity's military might could hold its own against the Empire, was now a man with more doubts than answers. He stood before his team of officers, his face a mask of concern. Everything we've prepared for, all of our strategies. None of it matters now, he said, his voice quiet but laced with an unmistakable tension. We don't know who these Black Fleet people are. We don't know if they're here to help or to destroy us. The question on everyone's mind remained, why had the Black Fleet shown up? If they were here to help, why hadn't they given any clear indication of that? If they weren't here to help, why hadn't they attacked the Galactic Empire yet? The balance of power in the universe had shifted, but it was unclear in whose favor. Meanwhile, world leaders began to hold their own meetings. The United Nations convened with emergency sessions being held on every continent. No one could ignore the fact that Earth was at a crossroads. The Black Fleet's arrival was a game-changer, but the fear of the unknown was growing stronger by the minute. President Catherine Brooks, who had taken the lead on Earth's diplomatic efforts, addressed the assembly with a mixture of determination and uncertainty. We cannot afford to wait any longer. We have to know their true intentions. We cannot assume that they are here to protect us. The room fell silent as the leaders looked at one another. Earth's fate was hanging by a thread, and no one could say which way it would fall. In the command center, General Armstrong's team worked tirelessly to decode the mysterious signals sent by the Black Fleet. So far, they had only managed to confirm that the transmissions weren't of any known origin. The language was alien, complex, and unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. It was a reminder that Earth was facing forces beyond its comprehension. Then, the unexpected happened. One of the officers, Lieutenant Adams, called out, "General, we're getting something. A direct transmission. It's coming from the Black Fleet." The entire room went silent. This was the moment they had been waiting for. The world had hoped for some sign that the Black Fleet was on their side, but no one had expected this. On the screen, a strange symbol appeared. It was the same one that had flashed across screens worldwide just days earlier. But this time, there was something different about it. The symbol began to pulse, almost as if it was alive. Then, beneath the symbol, words appeared in a language that Earth's systems struggled to translate. "There, speaking," Adams whispered in disbelief. For a moment, the room was filled with tension. The translation process was slow, but as the message became clearer, everyone leaned in. The words were simple, but carried a heavy meaning. "We are not your enemies. You are not our target, but you will be tested." The words sent a ripple of shock through the room. What did it mean? Who were the Black Fleet, really? Why were they speaking to Earth now? And what did they mean by being tested? General Armstrong's mind raced. Tested? What does that mean? Are they assessing us, or are they setting us up for something worse? The world's military commanders debated furiously. Some wanted to push back against the Empire, while the Black Fleet held its position, hoping that this cryptic message was the first step toward an alliance. Others were skeptical, wondering if this was just a manipulation tactic to lure them into a false sense of security. Meanwhile, the Galactic Empire, growing frustrated with the Black Fleet's silence, sent a message of their own. The Empire's fleet was ready for war, and they made it clear that they were not interested in diplomacy. Earth, the message began, the Black Fleet cannot protect you forever. You will surrender to the Empire, or you will face destruction. There is no other option. The stark contrast in tone between the Empire's message and the Black Fleet's cryptic transmission only added to the growing tension. As the days went by, Earth's people were caught between two looming threats, one old and terrifying, and the other mysterious and potentially dangerous. Outside of the military and government, ordinary people around the world were beginning to feel the pressure. As news reports spread, fear began to rise. Was this the beginning of Earth's end? Would humanity be crushed by the weight of an intergalactic war, or could the Black Fleet be the key to survival? As humanity awaited the next move, an eerie silence filled the air. Would the Black Fleet reveal more about their intentions? Would they act as protectors, or would they join the Empire in an effort to control Earth? Only time would tell, but one thing was clear. Earth was standing at the precipice of a new era, and the decisions made now would echo through the galaxy for generations to come. The battle lines were drawn, and the world's fate was in the hands of forces it could not fully understand. Battle commences as Earth's leaders scrambled to decipher the cryptic messages from the Black Fleet. The situation in space grew increasingly tense. The Galactic Empire, with its enormous fleet of warships, had given Earth an ultimatum: surrender or face destruction. They weren't known for their patience, and the deadline was quickly approaching. The Earth's military forces were prepared for the worst, but the looming question remained: what would the Black Fleet do? In the midst of uncertainty, something finally shifted. The Black Fleet, which had remained eerily still, suddenly moved. Its massive ships, dark and ominous, slowly began to edge toward the Empire's forces. They moved in a slow, deliberate manner, their engines glowing faintly, almost as if the very darkness of space surrounded them like a shroud. The Earth's military was on high alert, unsure of what to expect. Were the Black Fleet ships about to engage the Empire, or was this just another move in their mysterious game? General Armstrong stood at the head of his command center, eyes fixed on the holographic displays, his mind racing. Are they preparing to attack? Lieutenant Adams asked, his voice tight with uncertainty. I don't know, Armstrong replied. But we can't afford to wait and see. We need to be ready. The tension was palpable. Earth's defense systems were in place, but the gap in technology between the Galactic Empire and Earth's forces was wide. Even with the Black Fleet's apparent presence, Earth was still outmatched. The question remained: would the Black Fleet intervene, or would it simply watch as the Empire descended on Earth? Meanwhile, in space, the two opposing fleets began to draw closer. The Empire's ships were bristling with weapons, their hulls gleaming in the cold light of distant stars. The Black Fleet, in stark contrast, remained quiet, their ships like dark, silent shadows moving through the void. The Empire's forces were prepared for war, but the Black Fleet seemed almost patient, unnervingly so. Then, without warning, the first shots were fired. The Empire, no longer willing to wait, unleashed a devastating barrage of energy blasts. Their weapons ripped through the darkness, aimed directly at the Black Fleet. But the Black Fleet didn't move. Instead, they seemed to absorb the blasts, their dark ships rippling with energy as the shots dissipated into nothingness. It was as if the energy had been swallowed up, leaving no trace. The world watched in awe as the Black Fleet ships finally began to respond. Their ships didn't fire traditional weapons. Instead, they unleashed an entirely new kind of energy. It was a pulse-silent, yet powerful. The energy waves shot toward the Empire's fleet, rippling through the void like a shockwave. The Empire's warships were caught off guard. Their shields, which had once seemed impenetrable, flickered and began to fail under the intense pressure of the Black Fleet's energy pulses. One by one, the Empire's ships began to lose their stability. The entire fleet started to falter, their massive guns and missiles falling silent as their power systems failed. It was a stunning sight, one that no one on Earth could have predicted. General Armstrong stood in stunned silence as he watched the Black Fleet's intervention. They're doing it, he muttered. They're stopping the Empire, without firing a single shot. The battle was turning in an unexpected direction. The Black Fleet wasn't fighting like the Empire. They weren't using force to conquer. Instead, they were using a power far more sophisticated one that was reshaping the very nature of warfare. As the Empire's fleet faltered under the relentless energy pulses, Earth's commanders could hardly believe what they were witnessing. For hours, the battle raged on. The Empire tried everything it could to retaliate, launching missiles and energy blasts in every direction. But the Black Fleet's mysterious energy seemed to block every attack, turning the tide with each wave. The Empire's once proud fleet was now helpless, struggling against the invisible force that kept them at bay back on Earth. The people watched in awe and fear. They knew they were witnessing a battle that would go down in history, a battle between two unimaginable forces. One was the Empire, with its vast fleets and unyielding power. The other was the Black Fleet, a mysterious and unknown force, seemingly bent on protecting Earth, though no one knew their true intentions. As the Galactic Empire's forces began to retreat, the Black Fleet pushed forward, their ships slowly closing in on the Empire's remaining vessels. The Empire's commander sent one last desperate message to Earth. Do not be fooled. The Black Fleet will not save you. You will surrender to us, or you will be destroyed. But the Black Fleet didn't respond. They didn't need to. Their actions spoke louder than any words. The Empire's warships were now in full retreat, their once feared fleets scattered and broken. The Black Fleet had proven their power without firing a single shot. They had crippled the Empire's forces. Earth's defense systems remained at the ready, but the battle was over. The Empire's forces, overwhelmed and outclassed, were no longer a threat. The Black Fleet had done what Earth could not do on its own. They had stopped the Empire as the dust settled. General Armstrong and the rest of Earth's leaders took a collective breath. They were safe for now, but the questions remained. Who were the Black Fleet? Why had they intervened? And, most importantly, what would happen next? The world didn't know if they could trust the Black Fleet, but one thing was clear. Earth's survival had come at a cost. The Empire had been pushed back, but the true nature of the Black Fleet remained a mystery. Would this strange alliance continue, or would the Black Fleet demand something in return? The future of Earth was uncertain, but for the first time in weeks, humanity had hope. For now, Earth was safe, But the universe had just become far more complex. Unveiling the Black Fleet's true power. The Empire's forces had retreated, their once dominant fleet broken and scattered across the stars. But the battle was far from over. Earth, though safe for now, was left in a state of stunned disbelief. The Black Fleet had stepped in at the most critical moment, saving humanity from the Galactic Empire's crushing grasp. Yet, as the dust settled, questions loomed larger than ever. Why had the Black Fleet chosen to intervene? What was their purpose? In protecting Earth? Were they simply using Earth's conflict as a means to test their strength, or was there a deeper, hidden agenda at play? General Armstrong stood alone in the command center, staring at the holographic projections of the shattered Empire fleet. His mind raced with the same questions. The Black Fleet had proven their strength beyond any doubt, but he still couldn't understand the full scope of their power. "We've won," he muttered to himself, but there was no triumph in his voice. The victory was hollow, tainted by uncertainty. But what did we win? Around the world, Earth's leaders were asking the same thing. The United Nations held an emergency summit, its members discussing what to do next. While the immediate threat of the Galactic Empire had been neutralized, the Black Fleet's true intentions remained a mystery. Was this victory only temporary? Could Earth trust them to protect humanity from future threats? Or were they merely a temporary ally with their own hidden motives? No one could provide answers. Even Earth's best scientists were left grasping at straws, struggling to comprehend the incredible technology that the Black Fleet had demonstrated. The energy pulses they had used to disable the Empire's fleet were unlike anything Earth had ever encountered. They weren't simply weapons, they were a completely new form of power. The Black Fleet's technology is beyond our understanding. Dr. Lydia Marcus, one of Earth's top scientists, said in her report, "We don't even know if it's based on physics we understand. They control energy in ways we thought impossible." That was the problem. The Black Fleet's power wasn't just about superior technology. It was something else entirely. Their ships were not bound by the same rules that governed the Empire's warships. They could absorb energy, manipulate it, and release it in ways that defied all known laws of science. Even their ships' smooth, reflective, and almost organic in designs seemed to defy classification. Were they living ships? Or were they simply so advanced that Earth couldn't comprehend them? Across the world, people were also grappling with the implications of the Black Fleet's arrival. Fear, once driven by the threat of the Empire, now gave way to a more subtle, more insidious anxiety. Could Earth trust the Black Fleet? Or would their motives be revealed in time as something far darker than anyone could imagine? In space, the Black Fleet remained still, their ships suspended in the cold emptiness. They had not yet made their intentions known, but their actions spoke volumes. With each passing day, the silence became deafening. Were they simply waiting for the right moment to reveal themselves? Or were they observing Earth, studying humanity's response? At Earth's military command center, General Armstrong's unease only deepened. His orders had been clear. Hold Earth's defenses, prepare for any eventuality. But now, with the Empire defeated and the Black Fleet's ships still hovering, like silent sentinels, the question remained, what now? Without warning, Earth's communication systems crackled to life. A single, simple message flashed across every screen. From the command centers to personal devices, "We have seen what you are capable of. You will be tested further." The words were brief, but they carried the weight of a promise or a threat. Earth's leaders, stunned by the sudden message, tried to make sense of it. Was this another test from the Black Fleet? Were they continuing their strange evaluation of Earth, or was this the beginning of a new phase of conflict? General Armstrong, who had been glued to his console, turned to his team. Are they giving us a choice? Are they asking us to prove ourselves? The officers in the room exchanged uncertain glances. No one had a clear answer. The Black Fleet had already shown Earth the extent of their power, but now they were demanding something more. The message was cryptic, and no one knew how to interpret it. Would Earth be subjected to another battle? Would they be forced to prove their worth in some new, unforeseen way? In the days that followed, Earth's military forces were put on high alert, but the Black Fleet didn't move. Instead, they remained silent, suspended in space, seemingly watching. Every communication from Earth was met with nothing but stillness. It was as if they were waiting for Earth to make the next move. Meanwhile, Earth's scientists and military strategists worked round the clock, trying to understand the Black Fleet's technology. Some experts speculated that the Black Fleet's ships were alive, or perhaps controlled by some form of artificial intelligence. Others believed that the ships themselves might be a part of a larger, more advanced system of spacefaring civilizations. But one thing was clear. Earth was not equipped to confront this new threat on its own. And then, just as the tension reached its peak, something unexpected happened. A new message came through, this one more detailed, though still shrouded in mystery. It was sent not to Earth's leaders, but directly to the world's population. The message appeared on every screen, in every language, for all to see. Your survival will be determined by your ability to adapt. We will give you time to prepare, but when the time comes, you must show that you are worthy of the galaxies. Respect, the world gasped. What did this mean? Why had the Black Fleet chosen now to reveal their true motives? And what kind of test were they preparing for Earth? The uneasy alliance Earth had found with the Black Fleet seemed to be nothing more than a temporary reprieve. A new challenge was ahead, and this time, Earth's survival wasn't just about fighting a war, it was about proving humanity's place in the galaxy. The stakes were higher than ever, and the questions only deepened as the Black Fleet remained motionless in space. Earth prepared for the test ahead. The world was still uncertain, but one thing was clear: this wasn't over. In fact, the real battle was just beginning. The Empire's last stand. The tension was unbearable. Earth had been given a chance, or at least that was the hope, but no one could predict the outcome. The Black Fleet had shown their power more than once, but their motives were still hidden behind layers of mystery. And then came the chilling message that left humanity on edge. Your survival will be determined by your ability to adapt. We will give you time to prepare. But when the time comes, you must show that you are worthy of the galaxy's respect. For days, the world waited. The Black Fleet remained ominously still in space, like dark sentinels watching from the edges of the stars. And in the distance, beyond the Black Fleet's shadow, the Galactic Empire's forces regrouped. They were far from defeated. In fact, their retreat was only a temporary setback. The Empire had lost the battle, but the war was far from over. The Empire, furious at their defeat, began to rebuild their forces. Their leaders, though shaken, were resolute. They couldn't let Earth, let alone the Black Fleet, think they had been bested. The Empire had one last weapon, one final card to play, and they would use it, regardless of the cost. In a hidden, isolated sector of space, the Empire began the preparations. They had a weapon so powerful so destructive that it could change the course of the entire conflict. It wasn't a weapon of missiles or bombs, but something far more insidious and massive, artificial intelligence designed to command the most advanced war machines the Empire had ever built. This AI, known only as the Devourer, was capable of controlling an entire fleet of ships, manipulating energy, and dismantling anything in its path. The Empire's plan was simple: unleash the Devourer upon the Black Fleet. With its overwhelming strength and intelligence, the AI would overpower their ships and wipe them out, clearing the way for the Empire to reclaim its dominance over the galaxy. Earth's alliance with the Black Fleet would be meaningless in the face of such a weapon. Back on Earth, General Armstrong and his team were working around the clock, still grappling with the mysterious nature of the Black Fleet. They knew they had time, but how much? Earth's military, though bolstered by the Black Fleet's intervention, was not prepared for the kind of war that was coming. Their weapons were no match for the Empire's vast arsenal, and they still had no idea what the Black Fleet was really capable of. With the Empire slowly preparing its last move, Armstrong's team realized they had no choice but to try to communicate with the Black Fleet again. Maybe, just maybe, there was something they could learn, something that could tip the scales in Earth's favor. The world watched as Earth sent one last message into the void of space, directed at the Black Fleet: the Empire is coming again. We don't know how much longer we have. Can we count on you? There was no immediate response. Time passed, each second heavier than the last. Earth's military sat in silence, unsure whether they had made the right choice. And just as all seemed lost, the message arrived. This time, it was not a symbol. This time, it was something far more personal. You are not alone. The words flashed on every screen on Earth, lighting up faces with hope. It was a simple message, but in it, humanity found a glimmer of possibility. The Black Fleet had heard them. The silent watchers in space were finally speaking. But the question remained: what would they do? In the meantime, the Empire's forces, led by the ruthless Devourer AI, set their plan into motion. The weapon was activated, and the Empire's fleet began to accelerate toward Earth at a terrifying speed. The Devourer, a cold and calculating intelligence, began to issue commands, directing each ship with precision and efficiency. It wasn't just a fleet, it was an unstoppable, coordinated force. It had one objective: to destroy everything in its path. As the Empire's fleet entered Earth's orbit, its arrival was like a dark cloud descending over the planet. The silence was deafening, and the anticipation grew unbearable. Earth's defenses, though bolstered by the Black Fleet, were still far from ready to face a force of this magnitude. The time had come, but just as the first shots from the Empire's warships began to land on Earth's outer defense shields, the Black Fleet moved into position. Their ships, dark and silent, surrounded the Empire's fleet, cutting off any escape. The Black Fleet was ready for this moment. But what was their plan? Would they simply engage the Empire, or did they have something far more extraordinary in mind? As the two fleets faced each other, the world held its collective breath. The battle was inevitable, and Earth's fate was hanging by a thread. But as the first blast from the Empire's warships collided with the Black Fleet's shields, something unexpected happened. The Black Fleet didn't respond with a simple defense or counterattack. Instead, their ships shifted, opening up like a blooming flower. Within seconds, Earth's observers realized something incredible was unfolding. The Black Fleet had released a powerful, pulse-like energy wave, unlike anything seen before. It wasn't destructive. It was something far more bizarre. It was a signal. The signal, though hard to understand, seemed to resonate through the fabric of space itself. The Empire's fleet, for the first time, faltered. The Devourer AI paused, its commands interrupted by the strange energy pulse. The Empire's ships slowed, their movements erratic, like a puppet with its strings cut. It was as if the Black Fleet had done something no one had expected. Kind of mental assault, throwing the Empire's fleet into disarray. It was in that moment that Earth realized the Black Fleet was not just a military force. They had something far more powerful and ancient, unfathomable connection to the very fabric of space itself. And in that moment, Earth's fate was sealed. With the Empire's fleet caught in confusion, the Black Fleet had given Earth the opening they needed. But what would happen next? Would this strange and powerful force continue to shield Earth? Or was this only the beginning of a deeper, darker mystery that humanity could never understand? The final twist. The battle had raged for hours, and Earth's fate was hanging by the thinnest of threads. The Empire's forces, led by the terrifying artificial intelligence known as the Devourer, were pressing forward. Their advanced weapons, systems coordinated by the AI, wreaked havoc on Earth's defenses. With every shot fired, Earth's forces were pushed back, unable to match the overwhelming firepower of the Empire. Yet, the Black Fleet had proven to be a mysterious force unlike any Earth had encountered. They had already held off the Empire's advances once before. Now, they were doing something even more unpredictable. Instead of engaging in a direct firefight, the Black Fleet's ships remained eerily still, their sleek forms gliding through space, observing. A quiet tension filled the space between the two forces as the Empire's ships continued their relentless march. Earth's leaders and military commanders, already on the edge, watched from their command centers, unsure of what would happen next. General Armstrong paced back and forth, his mind racing. We don't have much time. If the Empire breaks through the Black Fleet's defenses, it will be over for Earth. We need to know what the Black Fleet is planning. Across the room, Lieutenant Adams spoke up. We've been trying to communicate with them for days. They're not responding. We're on our own. The uncertainty in the room was palpable. Earth had placed its hopes on the Black Fleet, but as time wore on, their silence became deafening. What were they waiting for? Why hadn't they launched a full-scale attack? Or was the Black Fleet simply here to watch and let Earth fight its own battles? But just when it seemed like all was lost, something remarkable happened. The Empire's fleet, which had been steadily advancing, suddenly faltered. Their ships paused, mid-motion, as if something had taken hold of them. The Devourer, the artificial intelligence that had been guiding their every move, fell silent. For the first time since the war began, the Empire's fleet was no longer in full control. Something was interfering with their systems. "What's happening?" General Armstrong shouted, staring at the holographic display. Adams worked quickly at his console, scanning through the Empire's communications. It's the Black Fleet. They're disrupting the Devourer's signals. They're overriding the AI's control. It was an unbelievable sight. The Empire, which had been so confident in its technological superiority, was now being outplayed. The Black Fleet was not just fighting with weapons or advanced tech. They were battling with something more intangible. They were using their unknown powers to disrupt the very systems that the Empire relied on. As the Black Fleet's ships moved in synchronization, their energy pulses began to pulse through space, affecting the very fabric of the Empire's fleet. The Empire's warships, once a symbol of unstoppable power, were now spinning out of control. Systems failed, weapons misfired. Even the Devourer, once thought to be the perfect strategist, seemed to lose its grip in the midst of this chaos. The unexpected happened. The Empire's remaining ships, now rendered vulnerable, began to break apart, not from explosions or missiles, but from the overwhelming force of the Black Fleet's energy pulses. It was as if the very structure of the Empire's warships was being unraveled at the molecular level. The once feared Empire, with its advanced technologies, was now powerless before the quiet but immense power of the Black Fleet. General Armstrong stared at the screen in disbelief. Is this really happening? Are they dismantling the Empire's fleet with energy? The Black Fleet's ships, still shrouded in mystery, were proving to be far more than just a powerful military force. They had the ability to manipulate the very essence of matter, controlling energy in ways that Earth's scientists could only dream of. The Empire's pride, its power, and its once dominant fleet were being torn apart without a single shot fired. But as the Empire's forces continued to disintegrate, something darker began to unfold. The Black Fleet's actions were not just a battle. They were a statement. Earth's leaders had thought the Black Fleet came to save them, but as the final remnants of the Empire's fleet crumbled, the Black Fleet's ships began to shift position. Their energy pulses stopped. A long silence followed. Then the screen flashed with another cryptic message. This time the words were clear, but their meaning was not. This test is over. The galaxy's respect is not easily earned. The message sent a wave of shock through the command center. What did this mean? The Empire was on the verge of collapse, and Earth had survived, but at what cost? The Black Fleet had shown their power, but they had also sent a chilling reminder. Survival alone wasn't enough. What are they trying to say? General Armstrong muttered. We've survived. We fought back. What more do they want? The world watched in silence as the Black Fleet made their final move. Their ships, once so ominously still, began to slowly withdraw from the scene. Their dark forms, almost like shadows against the backdrop of space, retreated back into the void from where they had come. No explanation, no announcement. They simply left as quietly as they had arrived. For a moment, Earth was left in stunned silence. The Galactic Empire had been defeated, but the true nature of the Black Fleet remained a mystery. They had saved Earth, yes, but at what price? Where do we go from here? Lieutenant Adams asked, his voice filled with uncertainty. We survive, General Armstrong said, his voice hard but full of resolve. And we learn from this. Whatever the Black Fleet wants from us, we will be ready. The world had been tested. Humanity had faced the impossible and survived. The Empire was defeated, but the Black Fleet had shown them something far more unsettling. There were greater forces at play in the universe than Earth could possibly understand. And Earth had been found wanting. For now, Earth was safe. But as the Black Fleet's ships disappeared into the vastness of space, one thing was clear. This was just the beginning of humanity's place in the galaxy. What came next would be up to Earth to figure out. Earth would have to prove it was worthy of whatever test the universe had yet to throw at them.